Hamzah Sheeraz just put the boxing world on notice. He just knocked out Edgar Berlanga in the 5th round in his first fight at 168. This is months of great build-up between the two, and Berlanga calling himself the King of New York. Now, I personally thought Sheeraz was this hyped-up Brit getting his hand held by Turkey everywhere he went, especially after that terrible decision against Carlos Adames back in February. But I still think we need to chill with this hype, especially when people are saying that he's ready for Canelo. With that said, to come into a boxer's backyard and do what he did is very, very impressive, and when a boxer could do that, he does show he's ready for any level. Sheeraz would drop Berlanga twice in the 4th round, and again in the 5th round before it was called off. Honestly, shout out to Andy Lee. I mean, he's a very talented trainer. Obviously a very talented boxer, former champion, but a very smart, very just great trainer in the boxing world right now. We see the fighters that he has. Sheeraz, Paddy Donovan, Joseph Parker, Ben Whitaker. We're seeing with Joseph Parker turning his career around once again to where he's a contender for the heavyweight division. All right, he just gets his fighters ready. Reminds me of Manuel Stewart, okay, where he really uses the styles to the boxer's advantage, get them ready for these fights. He had Sheeraz ready for this fight. He boxed perfectly against Berlanga. So shout out to Andy Lee, honestly. That was just very good performance by him and his camp, getting Sheeraz ready. Very good performance by Sheeraz. I mean, there's really all there is to it to recap that fight. It ended quick. 5th round, thankfully, right? I don't want to stay up late. I'm sure people watching across the world don't want to be staying up any later than they have to. Very good performance by Sheeraz. Did what he had to do, and he showed that he has the power. I mean, he had a long knockout streak before, but bumping up to 168, your first fight there, and showing that you have the power there is very impressive. Now, people are saying, because they say anything in the moment, they're talking about Canelo, saying, Sheeraz did what Canelo couldn't do. That's a lot of big talk yesterday. I've been seeing that everywhere. Let's think about this for a minute, though. That Canelo versus Berlanga fight was almost a year ago. And for like the past 3 or 4 years, we knew Canelo is getting old, obviously, and he's slowing down. He's not having to rely on his power as much. He can't rely on his power as much, so he has to rely more on his boxing skills. That's not rocket science, and that's all right, because Canelo's still winning. We look at that Berlanga fight. When Berlanga was at his best, in his prime, Canelo won every round and still knocked him down. All right, so there's other ways to win. Just because Sheeraz, a young, prime, much bigger fighter than Canelo, styles make fights, remember that, knocked out Berlanga, who was damaged goods, means nothing. People just hate Canelo. They just want to find any way to put Canelo down. That makes no sense, alrighty? Canelo did what he had to do. He won every round, knocked Berlanga down, and won. That's a dominant victory itself. Yeah, he can't stop guys anymore. It is what it is, okay? Means nothing. Why I mention that is because, well, we're seeing a lot of hype now, seeing a lot of talks for what's next for Sheeraz, and he wants Canelo. And Turkey thinks he deserves the Canelo fight in 2026. What does Sheeraz do to deserve that? Hasn't won a title yet. Fought for a title, was a robbery, should have lost, got the draw, knocked out Berlanga, and people are calling Berlanga a C, B level fighter. Okay, well if he's a C, B level fighter, then how come Sheeraz knocking him out gets Sheeraz a title shot against, could be the undisputed champion, if he beats Crawford in September, Canelo still, one of the best of all time, right? How does he get an instant shot for all the belts? I mean, come on. Let's be real. That's why I'm saying he's still a bit hyped up. And that's why I'm also saying people say anything in the moment. So what's next for Sheeraz is, I guess, yeah, if you really want to feed him to Canelo, all right, because Turkey, I mean, like I said, Turkey's holding his hand everywhere he wants, and he's Turkey's fighter. Turkey obviously calls the shots now with all of boxing, basically, besides PBC. And even then he's pulling in some PBC fighters because we're seeing David Benavidez fighting Anthony Yarde, which is going to be a good fight. But fine, if you want to put him up against Canelo, I don't know about that. Canelo might not stop him because Canelo doesn't have that power anymore. But Canelo can still break it down and still win all 12 rounds and still probably get a knockdown. And no fighter is really the same after Canelo. I promise you that. Caleb Plant, he was not the same fighter after Canelo. John Ryder, not the same fighter after Canelo. Charlo, not the same fighter after Canelo. Munguia, not the same fighter after Canelo. Alright, so let's be real. Berlanga, not the same fighter after Canelo. No fighter's the same. He damages you, he takes your confidence, and it doesn't go well, usually for the career, if we're looking at it historically. Billy Joe Saunders, he hasn't fought since. Alright, no fighter is the same after Canelo. If they think Sheeraz is ready for Canelo, alrighty, go after it. What's next for Berlanga? Listen, I know he's a goofball. That is what it is. He promotes fights well. He's a goofball. I don't want to see a fighter, career get ruined. Obviously, we talk about humbling. It's boxing. Berlanga's not the first person to talk like that to trash talk, to be a goofball like that. He's not going to be the last. Who I think Berlanga should fight next? Caleb Plant. That's hype that we've been wanting for a year now. Caleb Plant's coming off a loss. Berlanga's coming off a loss. I think that'd be a good fight to make. Caleb Plant versus Berlanga. Not, of course, a headliner, but maybe a co-main. Hey, what do you think? Caleb Plant versus Berlanga. I think that'd be a very good fight to make, but hey, Sheeraz, good performance by him. Going in the backyard of New York and doing what he had to do. I can't discredit that. Very good performance. All I'm saying is stop saying stuff in the moment and saying that he deserves a Canelo. No, fight M. Billy. Fight another contender at 168. Show that you really deserve it now. One fight at your first fight at 168 against damaged goods in Berlanga doesn't get you a Canelo shot. Boxing's a business, though. Sheeraz is starting to grow a big following. I mentioned that in every video. Boxing's a business. So don't be surprised if we do see Canelo versus Sheeraz next, assuming Canelo beats Crawford, which I think Canelo does. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of that fight. What do you think next for both fighters? Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a like. I'm out, guys. Peace.